Welcome to the Kind Leader Podcast, where empathy meets action in the world of leadership. Your host, Gino engages with innovators and seasoned professionals from diverse sectors, all demonstrating the power of leading with kindness. And now, your host, Gino
Most people think kindness is the opposite of accountability. They're wrong. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you why the kindest leaders I know are actually the most accountable people in the room, and why everything you've been told about being a nice boss might be quietly costing you and your team. Hi, I'm Gino and welcome to the Kind Leader Podcast. As you can see, I have no guests today. This is the first time that I'm going to be doing a solo episode. Hopefully first of many. This is something that I actually been struggling personally because I've enjoyed 90 plus episodes. I have guests come in and I'm able to ask them questions, get them excited about the conversation. What does kind leader mean to you and all that stuff? It's been great. And full transparency, this is my second take on this solo episode. And hopefully you'll bear with me and patiently navigate through this journey with me. So, because this is exciting. This solo episode is a new muscle for me. And hopefully you guys get value from this conversation because it's going to be a good one. I really want to explain to everybody, all the listeners. First of all, I do appreciate everybody that is here listening and still listening after 2.5 years. So we'll probably have some new ones that have been listening for a few episodes. And this is going to be great. But today, and for the next few solo episodes, my plan is to have at least one solo episode every month towards the end of the month, which I'm going to be focusing about a new framework that I'm working on that I've already established called CARES framework, which is part of the Kind Leader methodology here that I'm working on. So I'll tell you more about that here in a bit, as well as diving into conversation, which I kicked off, right, about kindness is not what you think it is. Kindness without accountability creates chaos. Accountability without kindness creates fear. Kind leadership creates excellence. That is one of the descriptions of accountability that I have as part of my CARES. Again, I will talk about the CARES in more detail here in a bit. But again, kindness without accountability creates chaos. Accountability without kindness creates fear. Kind leadership creates excellence. Super excited to talk to you guys about this today. Kindness is not what you think it is, right? A lot of people, after 90 plus episodes, a lot of folks talk about kindness is not a nice person, right? Obviously, being kind means to be nice, but what I'm trying to say is kind leadership is not really about just being kind or keeping people happy, essentially, right? And what we really want to emphasize today is on what is not kind leadership. For example, I came up with kind leadership around 2020. And as I was incorporating, going deeper into understanding who I am, started meditating. I think I've shared this story before in previous episodes. And I struggle because I've always been an entrepreneur, always been kind of driving my own future. But I've always been very respectful. My parents taught me to be respectful of others. I can push the envelopes, but at the same time, I understood how to push the envelope in a way that was respectful, right? But at the same time, I also did not enjoy conflict. I also assumed people would understand and pick things up. So I want to give you an example here. I'm going to call this gentleman James that I hired about 4 years ago. And he's no longer with the company. Again, James is a fictional name that I created of somebody that experience that happened to me. And James came in with a different background. And I thought, okay, this person is great. He's experienced in the government, let's say. And we can just plug him in on some of the activities that I need to do from a leadership perspective. A year went by, let's say from 100% being fully integrated into that role, this person was maybe 40%, 50% at best. Still needed to be guided, still needed to be nurtured, still needed to be kind of handheld in a lot of things. I did not say anything. I was like, they'll get better. They'll get better. Fast forward 2 years, same thing. And the company just was not able to grow to the levels that it needed to, not because of this person, but looking at myself, because I was not clear on what I needed from this person. I knew of their capabilities. I knew that they had the good heart. I knew they were kind leaders, but they were missing a lot of pieces that was going to help us move forward. And finally, last year, after listening to many kind leaders in this podcast, I had the opportunity to just be very transparent, with lead with care, right? And I was able to deliver the information to this person and told them that they're not the right person for this particular role. And this person took it personal, and unfortunately, or I say fortunately, we both still respected each other. We understood each other, but what's needed to happen, and that was such a tough conversation for me, was I did not want to have it, because again, confrontation is not even confrontation. It's just having those difficult conversations are tough. And as you can see, in many of my conversations in the past, talk about being clear. What do we really need? And how can that person, or whether an employee, whether a partner, whether a customer, it's all about clarity at the end of the day. So from that story, what I want to leave you with is avoiding the hard conversations isn't kindness. It's disservice to both of you. So if you can take away from this story that I gave, don't hesitate to not be clear. And the more you avoid conversations, the more it's going to get harder at the end to be able to be that kind leader that you are. And again, being direct, being clear doesn't mean you have to be mean about it or too direct about it. Understand and make sure you have the empathy to understand, okay, what do they really need? What do they want? And it'll allow for all of us to have a better experience at the end of the day. Now that I talked about the story that I gave you, what are the 4 near enemies that I'm going to call them enemies because they are kind of misinterpretations of some of what people think kind leader is. People think it's niceness, keeping the peace instead of serving the people. A lot of people think that kind leader is just nice. They just want to keep the peace. But instead, if you flip that, it's more about serving the people. Conflict avoidance. Protecting your comfort by withholding what your team needs to hear. Again, I share my story. I avoided the conflict. I avoided the tough conversation. And instead of thinking I was protecting this person or myself, I was just protecting being comfortable. And by doing that, it doesn't help anybody. Performative empathy. So at the third one there. Looking like you care without doing the harder work of acting on it. Again, going back to my story. I actually cared about this individual, but I didn't want to do the hard work. I didn't want to act on it because, again, I was like, oh, everything is fine. You're doing great. You're doing amazing, right? I was saying those things. I appreciate you being here. And not that I underlined, I was like upset. It was more like, it'll change. They're going to understand it. But I didn't give them what they needed. Toxic positivity, refusing to acknowledge what's hard and calling that good leadership. Again, it's staying positive. Oh, if I stay positive, things are going to change. They are going to be able to understand, and they're gonna do the thing that they need to do for us to be successful. And that's been a challenge. I've struggled through all these 4, kind of call it enemies, near enemies, right? Niceness, conflict avoidance, performative empathy, and toxic positivity. And I want to emphasize on those because each of these feel like kindness from the inside, but each of them erodes trust on the outside. And your team can tell the difference, even when you can't. So what can you do with my story, with these 4 things that I just laid out, these 4 enemies of kindness, a kind leader? Well, I think what I'd like for you guys to do are 3 questions you can use this week. What conversation did I avoid this week? And who paid the price for my comfort? If the answer is someone on your team, that's not kindness. That's our outsourcing your discomfort onto them. So it's a good activity. I think it's a good exercise at the end, like a Friday, let's say, before you shut down. What conversations did I avoid this week? Ask yourself that. And make sure you truly understand, because reflecting and going back will allow you to become the better person that you can be. Another thing that you could do is, am I saying this because it's true and useful or because it's comfortable for me to say? If it's the second one, try again. So the substitution test. Am I saying this because it's true and useful or because it's comfortable for me to say? I'm not asking you to be uncomfortable, but I'm asking you to really dig deep and understand yourself, right? Reflecting on yourself and how the more you know yourself, the better leader you can become. And the last question that you could ask at the end of this week is the best friend's test. If you wouldn't say it to your best friend out of love, you probably shouldn't say it to your team member at all. If you would say it to your best friend out of love, you definitely should. So the mind shift on that question is, as you go back into your conversations, what did I avoid? And as you're looking at those things that you said to others, with some of those things that you said, would you say that to your best friend or not? Or even a family member? We're all people. We all want the best for everybody. We all want to care for each other. So those are the three questions I think I would like for you guys to reflect to ensure that you continue to understand yourself and move forward. So this is it for this episode. I wanted to keep it very short, but I did want to share a little bit more about what's to come, just real quick. The next few solo episodes, again, they will be published once a month. It's going to be focused on the CARES framework. And what that means is CARES is clarity of yourself, accountability, which I talked to you a little bit about that here a second ago, relationships, empathy, and service. So the next one is going to go deep into all of these 5 letters. But beyond that, I'm going to go deeper into each of those with stories, with exercise and expectations. And I will come with a LinkedIn article companion that will expand that if you would like to continue understanding what I'm trying to do. So closing it out, which of these 4 near enemies do you live in most often? Not because you're a bad leader, but because you're a human. Naming this is the first step. I really want you to go back and reflect that every week, every Friday. And if this landed for you, forward it to one leader in your life who needs to hear it. Not 5, not 10, just that one. And with that, I'll leave you with be kind, bring value, rise together. Have an amazing day.